Hello. A calendar is not merely a tool for measuring days, months, or years. It is one of humanity's oldest mirrors, reflecting the effort to discipline time, understand nature, and organize society. From the first civilizations that gazed at the sky to today's digital screens, calendars have done more than divide time. They have shaped power, faith, science, and culture. Each sunrise, every phase of the moon, and the changing of the seasons compelled humans to measure the flow of time. This measurement guided the rhythm of agriculture, regulated religious festivals, and reinforced the authority of states. In essence, the calendar represents one of humanity's most systematic dialogues with the universe. The modern calendar apps we hold in our digital devices are the latest link in a journey spanning thousands of years. This journey continues the path begun by ancient observers who looked to the heavens with wonder. And in this exploration, we will uncover how the calendar evolved into a cultural, political, and scientific instrument. Understanding time, early observations, and natural cycles. The calendar represents a structured and measurable form of time. Yet the concept of time was not always this clear or systematic for humanity. Early humans did not measure time with clocks or calendars. For them, time was defined by nature's cycles. The most basic unit was the day. The rising and setting of the sun dictated sleep and wake rhythms, work and rest cycles. Yet this cycle was variable. The length of days changed with the seasons, and weather conditions made predictions difficult. For this reason, humans began seeking ways to measure longer periods. The moon's cycle provided the most evident clues. With its approximately 29.5-day phases, the moon created a visible calendar of periodic changes between darkness and light. Full moons, new moons, crescents. The moon's shape changed. These changes repeated, and the cycle became measurable. At the same time, the annual cycle was crucial. Climate shifts, migrations, sowing and harvest times, birth and death rates, all were tied to seasonal rhythms. Early agricultural communities observed the stars and the sky to determine planting and harvesting periods. These observations transformed time from a fleeting moment into a resource to be measured. During this period, timekeeping relied directly on astronomical observations. Structures such as Stonehenge, dating back to around 4000 BCE, served not only religious purposes, but also as centers for astronomical observation. Early temples and observation sites in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Central America were aligned with the positions of the sun and stars. This demonstrates that the concept of a calendar began with the systematic observation of natural cycles. Organizing time was also an effort to control humanity's relationship with nature. Who would sow when to harvest, when to celebrate or mourn? None of these could occur without a structured calendar. The first step had been taken. Humans were no longer merely beings passing through time. They had become beings capable of measuring it and acting according to it. Lunar calendars. Time, measured by the light of night. The lunar calendar is one of the oldest systems for organizing time according to the moon's cycles in the sky. In the earliest periods of human history, one of the most prominent and regular celestial events was the phases of the moon. These phases, new moon, first quarter, full moon, and last quarter, were observed and completed a full cycle approximately every 29.5 days. These recurring patterns were used to count days, eventually giving rise to a 12-month lunar year. This year lasted about 354 days, though it lagged behind the solar year by roughly 11 days. Over time, this discrepancy could disconnect the calendar from the seasons. The first lunar-based systems were used in Mesopotamia, particularly by the Sumerians in the 3rd millennium BCE. The Sumerians marked the first visible crescent of the moon as the beginning of the month. This determination was not left to the public, but was the responsibility of temple officials. The timing of this observation also reinforced religious authority. Because the moon's appearance in the sky depended on weather conditions, the start of the month could be announced on different days in different cities, leading to practical inconsistencies. To address this issue, the Babylonians shifted from purely observational calendars to calculated systems. From the 2nd millennium BCE onward, Babylonian calendar systems were developed based on lunar cycles. In these systems, an intercalary month was added approximately every 2 to 3 years to keep the lunar year in alignment with the solar cycle. This adjustment allowed the lunar calendar to maintain seasonal balance. The Babylonians also laid the foundations of the 7-day week by naming the days. The Jewish calendar is also lunar-based. It consists of 12 months, each lasting 29 or 30 days. To keep the calendar aligned with the solar year, 7 intercalary months are added over a 19-year cycle. This ensures that religious holidays occur in the same season each year. For example, Passover always falls in spring. This structure serves both religious and agricultural purposes. The Islamic calendar, known as the Hijri calendar, is purely lunar. It consists of 12 months, each beginning with the observation of the crescent moon. No intercalary months are added. Consequently, the lunar year falls about 11 days shorter than the solar year, causing months and holidays, such as Ramadan and Eid, to shift throughout the seasons, returning to the same season only once every 33 years. The Hijri calendar was particularly suitable for the nomadic and trade-based societies of the Arabian Peninsula, rather than agricultural needs. Traditional calendars in China and India are of a mixed type. They primarily follow the lunar phases, but add a 13th month in certain years to stay in sync with the solar year. The Chinese calendar balances lunar months with the solar year using 24 solar terms, while the Indian calendar, varying by region, employs a similar hybrid structure. Lunar calendars, being observation-based, were practical for early societies. Over time, however, particularly in agrarian communities, The discrepancy between the lunar year and the seasonal solar year became problematic. Predictability of the seasons necessitated a transition to solar calendars. As a result, lunar calendars were either adjusted to align with the solar year, becoming hybrid systems, or replaced entirely by solar calendars. Solar calendars, counting days by shadows. Solar calendars are systems for measuring time based on the Earth's orbit around the Sun. The solar year lasts approximately 365.2422 days and defines the cycle of the seasons. This cycle was the foundation for many civilizations to organize agricultural activities, determine tax collection periods, and fix religious festivals. Because lunar calendars could not reliably track the seasons, agrarian societies increasingly adopted solar calendars. Solar calendars in ancient Egypt. One of the earliest known solar-based calendars was used in ancient Egypt. By the 3rd millennium BCE, the Egyptians began systematically observing the sky to predict the annual flooding of the Nile. The heliacal rising of the star Sirius, known as Sopdet, just before sunrise, marked the beginning of the Nile's flood season and, consequently, the start of the year. The Egyptian calendar consisted of 12 months of 30 days each, totaling 300 days. To complete the year, 5 epagomenal days were added, celebrated as special days dedicated to the gods, bringing the total to 365 days. Because the extra quarter day was not accounted for, the calendar drifted relative to the seasonal cycle, completing a full cycle every 1,460 years. Although priests were aware of this drift, it was not considered a practical problem for daily life. For its time, the Egyptian solar calendar was advanced, offering both simplicity in observation and seasonal stability. Solar-based timekeeping in India. On the Indian subcontinent, timekeeping involved both lunar and solar measurements, often combined into complex systems. From the Vedic period, approximately 1500 to 500 BCE onward, solar-based observations became increasingly significant. The Sauramana, a solar calendar system, was used alongside lunar calendars. The Indian solar calendar is organized according to the sun's movement through the zodiac. The year begins when the sun enters the Aries constellation, usually around April 13 to 14, a festival known as Mesha Sankranti. Each zodiac sign corresponds to roughly 1 month, creating a 12-month year. This system guided agricultural planning, particularly in anticipating the start of the monsoon season. Vedic texts also reference the concept of samvatsara, corresponding to the solar year. This term encompasses not only the day count, but also the astronomical events within the year. Indian astronomers developed advanced trigonometry-based methods to calculate the sun's position and seasonal cycles. Scholars such as Aryabhata and Varahamihira played key roles in systematizing solar year calculations and stabilizing the calendar. Solar calendars in the Maya civilization. In Mesoamerica, the Maya civilization developed highly precise solar calendar systems. The Hab calendar was based on the solar year, consisting of 365 days. It included 18 months of 20 days each, with 5 nameless days added at the end to complete the year. This structure allowed the Maya to align social and religious activities with seasonal changes. Maya astronomers employed advanced observation techniques to track the sun's solstices and equinoxes. At the Pyramid of El Castillo in Chichen Itza, the sunlight forms serpent patterns on equinox days, a demonstration of precise astronomical alignment. Such architectural constructions were directly linked to the calendar. The Hab calendar worked alongside the 260-day ceremonial calendar, Tzolkin, and the long count calendar, which allowed the tracking of dates over thousands of years. Maya astronomers calculated the solar year as 365 to 420 days, differing by only 0.02 days from modern measurements, a remarkable achievement given the observational tools available at the time. The Maya solar calendar thus represented an advanced system for both scientific and ritual precision in tracking the sun's annual cycle.